want to say this is a very special personal pleasure. Claire, I knew about you from Bill Johnson. Said she's good. Kenny, I learned you. This is special for me because I tried years and years ago when I was to have a joint thesis defense, joint thesis preparation, although they're separate. There's a lot of joint. And I couldn't do it. And I want to thank Dr. Fields and ortho philosophy here for allowing something that's very logical. And I think the one came out beautifully. The real heroes, Dr. Kim, and a good man to help with the research. So they know all the hard questions to ask about what actually we do. This is really kind of special with, I think, a back and forth presentation for the summer. I ask one thing. Please do not do any questions until the seminar's over. Don't be like my friends in material science. 2 minutes in, the questions start. So let's have full respect, and then we can launch with some questions for the guests. Here, please.
Thank you, Dr. Brantley. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to first thank you for taking the time to attend our dual defense today. Dr. Strode and I have worked on 2 separate projects, yet they're very similar, so we decided that it would probably be more practical, more efficient to present them at the same time. Also, before we start, I just want to say that we truly have enjoyed working on this research and with our committee, and hopefully you'll enjoy the presentation today as well. The focus of our research is on elastomeric power chains. Dr. Strode will be looking at the force delivery and viscoelastic properties of colored elastomeric chains from one manufacturer, while I'll be looking at these properties from different brands of elastomeric chains. We all know elastomeric, also known as power chains, are used extensively in orthodontics, mainly to close interdental spaces, derotate teeth, and bring down impacted teeth as well. Their composition is polyurethane, which is combined also with proprietary fillers and pigments for colors. They're formed generally by 2 methods, either die cutting, also known as stamping, or injection molding. The general shape for them consists of round links that are joined by connectors. They could be a continuous chain with no connectors, all the way to long chains with a long connector in between. Power chains have quite a few advantages. They are easily and efficiently applied on brackets to move teeth. They're relatively inexpensive. They require minimal compliance by the patient, and they're well tolerated by most patients. And also our younger patient pool enjoys selecting the colors on their adjustment appointments. However, they do have disadvantages. The biggest or main one is the force delivery is not constant. It tends to decay over time. They're not very hygienic in the sense they do collect plaque, and the lighter chain colors do stain as well. They've also been noted to absorb moisture from the saliva, which could affect their physical properties as well. Since the 60s, when they were introduced, orthodontists first had the option of either having clear or gray colors. Since then, there have been many brands and many different colors with shades of these elastomeric chains, and they have become very popular among orthodontists. Which naturally leads to the question, with all the variety of different brands and colors out there, are they all the same, or are there differences in their physical properties? So what does the research say? They looked at the variables that may affect the performance of elastomeric chains, and we decided to group them into 3 main factors. First one is the specimen design, second one is loading factors, and last one is environmental factors. Specimen design factors are things like the length, how they're manufactured, whether it's die cutting or injection molding, the geometry, and also whether pigmentation is in the elastomeric chain or not. Loading factors are things like pre-stretching, the amount of the initial loading, and the method of loading. And lastly, environmental factors are things like saliva, temperature, plaque, the fluoride, the enzymes in the saliva as well could have an effect on their performance. Most previous elastomeric or power chain studies were looking at specifically the force delivery and force decay of these chains. A nice study done by Beatty, which is actually a review article, found that the initial force does decay over time, and that varies by the brand or the manufacturer. Jostle actually went further and quantified that decay, and it was about 20 to 70% of the initial force, and that varied by the brand, and that was lost over a 4-week period. Interesting that the most of the decay was lost by the 4th day of application. And we concluded the manufacturing factors or techniques affect force delivery and decay of these chains. Fewer studies tried to analyze properties of these elastomeric chains, and they looked at glass transition temperature, which is an indirect way of determining the stiffness of these chains. 2 excellent studies were done here by Drs. Rennick and Casaus. In 2004, Dr. Rennick found that gray, red, and purple do have different glass transition temperatures. Remember, the higher the glass transition temperature, the stiffer the material is. And in 2009, Dr. Casaus found that the clear GAC chain had a higher temperature than the and their conclusions combined was the pigmentation or coloring may affect the elastic properties of these chains. Another method that's been used to analyze polymers in general and to look at their viscoelastic properties is called dynamic mechanical analysis, also known as DMA. Nice thing about this test is it can be applied to any material that exhibits viscoelastic properties. To date, there's no published papers or studies using DMA to evaluate elastomeric chains. Which leads me to the specific aims of our study. Dr. Strode was set out to evaluate the effects of colors or pigments on the force delivery and viscoelastic properties of these chains using DMA testing. And I was out to evaluate the effects of manufacturing factors and techniques on the force delivery and viscoelastic properties